Hey guys, how's it going? Today in this video we got a pretty cool topic to cover, and we're going to be looking at creating AI renders directly from our Revit model. I'll be showing you how to generate images like these, which we covered throughout this video, and I'll also be covering some of the mistakes I made and how we fixed them, so hopefully you can generate less of these mistakes when you try it out yourself. Just a note that the timestamps of this video are listed below in the description. This is in case you want to see less troubleshooting and more generating. So I'm sure you've all heard recently the buzz around AI on social media with things like ChatGPT, where you can either talk to an AI chat and have it respond back relevant, natural sounding answers to you through text, or stuff like Midjourney and Dall-e, where people can generate images through user prompts and it will search these images throughout the web, millions of images, and then it will combine them using AI algorithms and generate a specific image for you based on that text that you inputted. However, there's a plugin I discovered recently called Veras AI from Evolve Labs. It lets us create these AI renders directly from our Revit viewport, and in this video we're going to cover a few models and a few different shots just to see how they work. So here's an article from Evolve Labs explaining how the plugin works. This will be linked in the description. The main thing is just saying the settings you need to use, which I'll go through over in this video, but the main thing that I want to show you is for these images they've actually supplied the prompts that they use. So this one they're obviously using the sample Autodesk file. They've used the prompt modern minimal cabin with limestone and white walls, white ceilings, and you can see this is what is generated. From the same Revit viewport, they've just given it a different prompt. So this one they've said they want a concrete cabin, and you can see the texture that's been changed here. Next one, which is a modern grey wooden cabin. You can see you've now got wood everywhere for the material. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool is that it will even change the background in context. So if you go here and you say the modern grey wood cabin, same one as above, but you say it's a forest during winter, snow and blizzard, this is what happens. The background's completely changed. The same thing down below, modern grey wooden cabin, but a forest during summer. So this is pretty cool that I don't think any Photoshop was used, but the AI is generating these images in terms of, the textures that's used on the building and what's being shown in the background. Obviously the AI render will change some things based on the images. So for example, you see the topography here with how it sits on the wall, and here it's being expanded, but again this is just used for concept, nothing for actual solid visualization. And you can see they've even had some fun using stuff like making the building out of ice or making the building appear as a ship dock. So before we get started, here's the download page. I'll link it in the description below. You can just download it, you don't have to buy it, you do get a free trial. So if you scroll down, you can see the features that they have, the subscription options. If you create an account, you will get 100 free renderings and 15-day trials, not bad. And again, for $35 a month, you get unlimited renderings. You can increase your resolutions, and you can render multiple things in one go. And one thing to note is that this is currently supported for Revit 2019, 2020, up to 2023. And they said coming soon is you've got the SketchUp plugin and for Rhino, so keep an eye out on that. Okay, now that we're in Revit, we're also using the sample file that they've been using, just so we can go through it as an example. The plugin will be under Evolve Lab, and then under Veras AI, you just need to press start as soon as you've created an account, and then you can get rolling with it. And one thing I found out is that it's actually better to make your view a perspective view. So I went into a floor plan and I made a camera just so it's in perspective, since I think it helps it render it better. So one thing to do is that we need to press GD to go to our graphic display options, and we want to make our style realistic. We want to hit show edges, and we want our shadows to be cast on and the background to be based on to a gradient. This is all based on the article that I linked above. I think this just helps differentiate edges and create depth, so it helps the AI. Now we've got this view, all we have to do is press start on our Veras AI. And then once we go here, just want to hit show preview in Revit, and then this is the view that we're going to be working with. Creativity strength, as you can see, it gives a short description. The amount will be replaced by the algorithm, so if you do low values, it's only going to tweak a few things. The higher you bump up this value, the more it will create something very different. And the style strength shows that how much the algorithm will respect the text prompts. So over here we are going to input some text prompt. That's some additional text that we saw in the examples below. So if we want a snow background or timber for materiality, it can say actually how much do we want to focus on how much Revit has, and how much do we want to focus on how much the user prompt is given. So these are the main things. These two are grayed out because I'm obviously using the free trial. You have a few more ticks. Is this interior? Do you want to make it turbo nature? So I'm assuming this if you want like a really luscious forest, maybe if you're a landscape architect. Atmospheric, I think this treats it more as an illustration, and is it an aerial view or not? That's quite common. So One thing to note is that if I want to go here, for example, let's just work on the same example that they had before. If I want to update the camera perspective, I just need to right click, show Revit preview, and then do it again. So our view is updated. Okay, now as you can see, because we're on the trowel, I think we're limited to a certain amount of width, so you need to pan around just to make sure that your Revit preview is in the right amount. So I'm just going to right click, show preview. It's showing a bit more on that side, so let me load it here. Great, so I moved my camera to find a location that I'm happy with. Now, I'm not even going to give it a text prompt, I'm just going to hit render so we can see what we generate. So without even giving it any user prompt, this is what it generated. You see, just from the click of a button, it generated a sort of realistic image for us. One thing to note is that our images are all saved into wherever your default location is, so each image that you generate will be saved there. As you can see, I've got 68 remaining. And I can do something. So let's say if I want this to be a bit more atmospheric, I can just hit render, and it's completely changed the result. Let's bump it up using the examples that they gave. So let's say if I want to write modern, beige, timber cabin with a background of desert, arid. This is just trial and error, by the way, so I'm just going to hit render. And you can see it's completely generated a different type of image for us, right? Based on our Revit model, it looks somewhat similar. If I go and make this atmospheric now and I hit render, it's made it a complete different image. That's definitely got a bit more atmosphere. It looks like a bit like a Pinterest image. If I make the creative strength 100 and let's say I make this 60, actually let's do it 99. I don't want to give it 100% creativity. Let's just hit render and see what happens. Hasn't changed it that much, not bad. So I've just reset all of this back to default settings just because I think it works best based on the article. So let's do a new prompt. So if I write modern timber house with glazing, background, winter forest garden, I'm going to turn off atmosphere for now. I'm going to hit render and let's see what we get. And as you can see, we've actually got a pretty decent realistic result. If I go to atmospheric now and render that, I want to see what happens. But this part here is kept from the model. It is timber. I think it's given it some solar panels. I haven't actually got that in the model, but that's pretty cool, and the glazing is pretty nice as well. So if we go to atmospheric and hit render, we do get a shot that does look quite a bit more atmospheric. This is something that you probably see in Pinterest. Oh, as you can see here, the glazing's also changed as well as the balcony. So this does look somewhat similar to the curtain wall arrangement that we have there, including at the bottom. As you can see, it's probably extended this timber part here and given our housing extension a bit there based on what's seen on the view, but that is pretty cool. Okay, and as you can see, it's changed this landscape here that we've got here. So let's try an interior shot and see how that works. So I've created a view in the kitchen. I'm just going to make sure that the file clip is not set, and we're going to do the same thing as before with our graphic display options. Going to make sure it's realistic, show edges, cast some shadows, and make the background gradient. And I think over there, this is what was suggested, so I'm just going to hit OK. Cool, so if we go to Evolve Lab and let's just start it again. So this is the one we had previously. If I right click and hit show Revit preview, you can see it's updated our view now, and then I'm going to turn off atmospheric as interior, yes, and for this one I'm going to say modern kitchen, modern, yeah, let's write modern kitchen, timber floors, luxury, and background to be night forest garden. I have no idea what to expect. Let's just hit render, and that is a pretty decent image that is generated from us. So if I think if you hit show Revit preview and then show it again, you can see before and after. It hasn't made the background night, but in terms of giving it timber floors, it does look modern to me, sort of luxurious. But yeah, let's see what else we can do. Background night, modern kitchen with, let's say, with marble tiles and white counter. I'm going to take out the luxury tag, and let's say for the background, snowy garden. I'm going to hit render again. And wow, this is the image that is generated from us. So this is quite cool. You know, we've got definitely luxurious. It's modern. It's got the marble tiles on the floor. It's even given it a marble column. I actually just want to see what happens is if we rotate the view a bit, how much it will affect it. It's probably going to generate a completely different image for us, obviously, but I just want to see how well it will try to stay in the same shot. So if I hit render, and we'll see what else it generates. That is actually somewhat similar to what it generated before, which is quite cool. Oh yeah, I'm obviously looking at the glass here, so if I just move there and hit render, that had quite a bit of glass here, so let me just move it even more. I just want to pan it here, so we've got quite a different shot. And if I go back to the plugin and show preview, make sure it's updated. There we go. I'm going to hit show preview and let's hit render again. Quite a convincing image. It's obviously changed some of the colors before, so now it's made this part black marble. This is obviously white for the floor, but again, it's pretty convincing, especially looking at the background. So let's try a completely different project now. Okay, and for this project, we're using the second Autodesk sample file. So I'm just going to go ahead and create another view. Cool, so I've set this view. I think it'll be good. Let's go to Evolve Labs, show the preview. I'm happy with that. So in terms of this one, let's do modern office building, concrete, wide glazing, background city car park, and let's write winter. Let's see what it'll give us now. Oh, I forgot to I'm going to cancel the render. I mean, it's all done it for us and took it away, but if I go here and hit is interior, I've taken it off. Now I'm just going to hit render. As we can see, it's generated us something. I don't really like that. I don't think anyone would. Let's say the background. We've done a city car park. Let's do background. Let's just leave it as it is, and let's do car park in winter with grass, a modern office building. I want to take away the wide glazing. I just want to put, let's just take away glazing. Let's see if we can spot it automatically. Office building, concrete, and actually, let me change that to timber panels. Hit render. I've noticed as well that this image is taking longer than the other one, probably because of the amount of detail that it has to go through. So the other one was, it could generate an image within 10-20 seconds. This one, it's been up to 30 seconds and we're still going. As we can see, it's generated a result, but it's gotten rid of our building for some reason, so it can't spot any of that. One thing is, let me change the shadow direction. So if I go to my shadows and I go to my sun settings, let's make the shadows more extreme. So if it's 138, let's do it from the other direction, 215. Okay. Actually, GD. I actually want to go to shadows, and sorry, if I go to my shadow, if I go to my sun settings, and I don't really like that one, so let me do 280. I'm gonna hit apply. I want it from the other direction, so maybe 70. There we go, it's giving it sharper shadows. Hopefully it can generate something. And if I just go back to the thing, if I just say modern, I think the word office is confusing. Actually, let's take away building. So if I go to modern, modern metallic panels in grey, background, let's do summer city, and I just want to go here and hit render, and let's see what it can give us. Okay, so this image is clearly confusing the AI quite a bit in terms of what it can generate, so I'm actually going to change the camera up quite a bit and see what else we can do with this one. Okay, so now we have a different perspective of the building. Let's see if this one works a bit better with it. I'm going to go to the plugin, this is the correct view, and let's just try the same prompt and see if it gives us something better than the previous one. So this was the previous one, same prompt, different angle, modern metallic panels grey, background summer city. If I hit render, okay, that does look better than before. I'm still not sure what's going on there. It's replacing the trees with what's it called? It's replacing the trees with cars. So I'm just gonna take away planting. Let's see if it improves it. It's going to remove quite a bit of stuff from our scene. And then if we go to this one, if I say metal panels with glazing, interior lights, background, I'm just going to give it season, autumn. Let's be fair on it and hit render. Let's see what it generated from us now. Just going to move it side by side so we can see what we're working with a bit more, compare the two. Again, it's struggling to spot the actual glazing elements here. And one thing I've noticed that it's still giving us trees in the location, so when we actually hide stuff in the view, it's shown in this Revit preview still. As you can see, it's not shown in our Revit model, it's shown in the preview, and that's affecting the image that the AI generates, so maybe that's something for Evolve Lab to update. And if I just go to the user prompts again, and if I write modern office building, and let's hit render. Okay, well that's better than everything it's given us before, but I don't like the fact that it's not picking up this glazing here, and I want to see if there's something I can do about it. Okay, I actually just want to change the lighting up quite a bit. So if I go to sun settings, I want to hit relative to view, apply. This is currently set on 70. If I do 130, apply. That should somewhat pick it up quite a bit. If I hit render, somewhat better, but it's getting confused on the glazing. You know what? I'm just going to go a lot closer just so it can actually see what it's dealing with. I want to make it a bit fair for it. I just want to see what this shot's going to do. So hopefully it can actually understand what it's working with. So if I go to look here and I look over here, hopefully it's able to distinguish this stuff now. If I go back to the Evolve Lab preview and hit show Revit preview. Now let's try this. Hit render. There we go, we've actually got an image that it's kind of reading. I guess it wasn't able to read the panels as far back as we go. Again, this could be based on the trial, the fact that our width only goes up to 768. So if I go to, let's go to the same descriptions that we wanted before. So instead of white walls, I want to choose, let's say, grey metal panels. Large glazing, and if I do background, let's just do background in winter, and if I take out building, modern office, let's just do modern office, and hit render. Let's see what it generates for us now. Okay, so that is getting much better in terms of what it generates. As you can see, it's not really reading these thin vertical elements here. It's getting confused. I mean, that part's understood. It has got grey panels for us. It is blending it. So if I go here and I do, and the background does look a bit like winter. If I do background summer, let's do multicolored panels. Multicolored metal panels. If I do modern office, if I make this residential now, modern residential, I want to see if it's going to replace it with balconies. Let's hit render. Oh, I knew it. You see, it made these into balconies because it spotted that it was residential, but it has picked this up. This is, I'd say this is more timber or wood rather than multicolored metal panels, but again, it's given us a different image. Again, the background is summer. You can see through everything we've generated, we've got so many different things in terms of quick concepts. Is this accurate? No, but in terms of mood, it could work. So we've gone from that to that to that, all based on the same Revit viewport. So let's try one more. I want to say modern office. Actually, let's write modern WeWork, multicolored, and let's just write metal panels, metal, and let's write metal perforated panels. Getting a bit creative here. Large glazing, and we want the background to be in summer with concrete floor. I'm gonna hit render. Wow, okay, that image is quite cool. You can see it's given us metal panels with perforations. Yeah, I've said this before, but it's quite cool, just even though some of it was wrong, how many iterations we can just cycle through based on the same Revit viewport, right? Some of it gets wrong, but we have so many different styles generated for us. And again, it can inspire you, or at least give you ideas moving forward. This one I like. I actually just want to see metal. I want black metal perforated panels, summer concrete floor with landscaping. Let's see how well this one works. This is what I want to be the final render almost. And if I do modern WeWork, let's do this, hit render. Is it going to change the image completely? Let's find out. Okay, it's taken away the perforations, but it is reading these vertical elements quite a bit more. I don't know, I guess you can say that's kind of perforated. If I do large perforated with landscaping, it's just giving it grass. If I do with cityscaping, let's see if it recognizes that word and hit render. There we go. This is the final image that I kind of had in my head. It is reading this. There's quite a bit more curtain glazing that I wanted, but it's reading the vertical elements quite well. We've got large perforations here. This is some concrete flooring. I guess it's done that. And in terms of summer, again, one thing I want to do is background night concrete floor with large glazing, and I want to write with interior lights. Let's hit render, and this is the final image I want to generate and see what it looks like, if it can produce us a night render. That is quite a cool shot. So it's turned on the lights on the inside. Again, it is getting confused with all these curtain panels things here. I don't think you can blame that, you know, you're reading so many edges here. It's turned on the lights, you got cityscaping, well, then you got concrete floors here. This is quite cool. One thing I forgot to do on this view is do an atmospheric view, and this is something I actually just want to do. So I'm just going to right click, show the Revit preview from the previous image we got, show Revit preview again, and I want to go back on this image, the same prompt, and I want to do atmospheric, and I'm going to hit render. So this was the last one that we generated. We're going to compare the two and let's see how well it works. That is very atmospheric. This almost looks like something out of Pinterest, and this one is reading the curtain wall elements quite well. So you can see this is the same prompt. We've got that image. Oh. You can tell that it's actually reading the geometry quite well if you look at the edges of the buildings here. But this one is actually really good in terms of concept. Maybe not for architecture, maybe more for visual effects or, I don't know, storyboarding, but this is a very nice quick render that we've got for free essentially. So let's go back to the interior shot that I was working on before here. If I go here and I hit show Revit preview, we've got this one, modern WeWork. I want to take off atmospheric. Is it interior? Yes. Let's just do modern timber, modern WeWork. Let's do timber flooring. I want to see how much concrete columns, large glazing with interior lights, and let's just say I don't want to actually, I want to say the weather or the background is night. Okay, let's just hit render. I think I'm running out of text prompts there, so I'm just going to hit render. Let's see what it gives us. That is pretty decent. So it's given us somewhat concrete columns. It has given us timber flooring. It seems like the perspective is a bit warped. But yeah, for a quick material finish, that is quite cool. So I'm going to redo the prompt here. So I'm going to go for modern office. I want, let's say, again, I want dark timber floor, white walls, and I want brass metal finish, and I want this summer lighting background. I'm going to hit render. That looks somewhat decent. It has completely changed the aesthetic from what we had on the previous image. Again, that's making this, I don't know what it's choosing for this material, why it's, oh, I think because on this one, as you can see on our realistic view, this one's a lot more detailed compared to these ones, so it goes ahead, but it's obviously reading that quite well. I can't see any brass metal finishes, so if I go for, let's go for, and let's give it a new prompt, retro office ceiling with disco lights, pink walls, and I want checkerboard tiling for the floor, checkerboard floor tiling, and I want a neon theme. Let's see if we can make it into a club. I'm gonna hit render. Wow, not bad. It definitely did follow our thing in terms of, I don't know if I call it a retro office, but and I can't see my disco light, but it's got pink walls and columns. It's got checkerboard flooring. As you can see, the algorithm's getting a bit confused here, but it's definitely developed a unique instinct. I don't know. Let's just say instead of pink, I want to give it a McDonald's restaurant interior, checkerboard tile floor, and I want artsy wallpaper, concrete columns. I'm gonna hit render. This somewhat does feel like a McDonald's restaurant. I mean, if you excuse the size, you can see that it's picked up yellow highlights around here. We haven't actually entered the word yellow for it. It's given us checkerboard floors. It's even made it red. I believe McDonald's has some of that red in their branding. It's made it some fun wallpaper here. The stairs, I mean, they look pretty convincing. So yeah, this is it for the renders that we've got. And if you do want to see all the renders that you've produced, all you need to do is click on this folder icon. And these are all the images we've generated from today. So as you can see, we've got the views that our Revit view was referring to. So this was the name of it in our model. I should probably name my views a lot better. I hope you do it as well. This will come in handy because that's what is going to be appended to the end of each view. But as you can see, everything that we've generated in this session is saved here, and we can see all these different examples we've generated. Considering the fact that this plugin is free for 100 images and it's only $35 a month, I think it's incredibly good. It's not going to replace your renders or Photoshop renders, for example, but in terms of getting quick mood boards and concept images from your Revit model directly, I think it's a steal. You can generate so much stuff in ideas. This is the example. So again, this image we weren't really working with, we weren't really sure about. So the same project file, we just went to a different location, and considering that all these are done within a span of 5 to 10 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just the amount of images we've generated. Maybe it'll give you an idea or so, or maybe it'll convey something. Again, you can Photoshop these afterwards, but I think this is a complete steal of a plugin. I'm very happy with it. I hope people will use it more often in their projects. Yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave it a like, comment what you think of it. It really does help me. Cheers.